So this is a what's called Johnny Peg, a company, an American company, I believe, that assembles, produced in China, motorcycle parts into this reasonable facsimile of a Orange County chopper. It's called a Spider, I think. It's a 300cc parallel twin, liquid cooled, a copy, or under license, I'm not sure, of a Suzuki GV 250 Marauder engine. That's my guess. Not quite sure. It's a 270cc actually. So it's a little bored out, I guess, and maybe the strokes changed. I'm not sure what they done there, but anyways, Suzuki 250 engine, 2 carburetors, very basic motorcycle. Should you buy one? I don't know. Depends. Like, you can get really good deals on these, oddly enough, because the quality is sort of lacking, I suppose you could say. They tend to survive because what happens is people buy these, they tend to crap out early. A lot of BS, little problems, shifting, the shifter linkages wear out because the metallurgy's bad, you know, electrical issues, that sort of thing, and then people just give up on it. So you sometimes, a lot of times, find Chinese products in someone's garage and they're not actually ridden. Like this one's only got 800 kilometers on it, which is about 500 miles. The quality's a little definitely up from the usual Chinese fare that you tend to come across. Like the forks seem good quality. The brakes, it's hard to tell whether these are actually a good bike or not because nobody actually rides them. You know, like you don't get one in with 60,000 kilometers on it. The guy tells you all about the problems that he's had. These tend to be really low mileage bikes. So, you know, aesthetically, it's very pleasing when it's sitting still. I mean, this is something you probably ride up to the coffee shop and get a lot of attention. You know, if that's your thing, cool. I mean, it certainly looks the part. It's got a long front end, as you can see. You got to kind of do a 10-point turn with it to turn around. I think the chain is 140 link. It looks pretty long. I think it's longer than the usual 120 link you can get. So be aware of that if you're ordering chains, I guess. It's got hydraulic brakes, dual in the front, which is pretty cool, and then a single in the rear, which is okay. Unnecessary, but okay. It's a basic little bike. I mean, one of the nice things about the Chinese stuff, you know, to be fair, is they're really simple. So you know, like you can get your hands dirty and actually do some maintenance at home, and you don't have to drag it to the dealer. Like if you buy a CB500 fuel injected Honda, you know, a new Goldwing, I don't know, you know, the newer fuel injected stuff, bristling with electronics, you know, and the requirement for special tools and literature, manuals, and, you know, good luck even doing a valve adjustment. These are really basic. I mean, it's, so they've kind of taken the fun out of it a bit, you know, with motorcycles in terms of, you know, becoming one with the machine, and that you can't really do anything with it. Whereas these Chinese things, you can, and the parts are very cheap. One of the drawbacks of these things is that they have a wholesaler which imports into the country typically, you know, for Lonkin or Leafin or Geo or Otis or whatever brand, you know, you can come up with Chinese imports. There's a wholesaler imports, and then they have a fleeting set of people willing to sell these, and they tend to last for 2 to 5 years and then they disappear, and so the support for these is pretty dismal. If you can find like a backyard guy to work on them, then that's pretty cool. If not, well, you better work on it yourself. And then getting parts, well, eBay's probably your friend because the dealers are sort of fly by night, I guess you could say, you know. And that's largely due because there's a lot of problems with these bikes. Like long-term quality is pretty lacking, and so the service guy up front in the dealer tends to be a punching bag, and they don't pay them very much, and so they don't care, and so the whole affair doesn't last. It's not built on a great foundation, like a really good product, like a Chinese product. A product is generally representative of the culture it was built in. I think that's fair to say. Like if you look at Japanese stuff, I mean, they pride themselves in honor and integrity and respect, and etc. And so the product shows that. And I mean, everybody knows Japanese make a good product. Same with the Germans, and you know, to an extent, the Italians and the English and the Americans, and you know, like good products are made out of there. Like you never bought a car from Russia, for example, and there's a reason for that. When it was the Soviet times, because, well, quite frankly, they were crap. They were, you know, built by people who just clocked in and out of the factories, and you really didn't give a shit. So, and that kind of shows in these products too. So you can pick these up pretty cheap. I mean, if you pick one up secondhand for $800 to $1,200 maybe. This one has 800 kilometers on it, which is about 500 miles. You know, I guess it's okay if you're going to the coffee shop, but don't expect to drive across America on it without bringing a toolkit with you, because they're pretty cheap, like the signal lights and stuff like that. Oddly enough, the switchgear on these, I'll do a little walk around because it's kind of interesting. There's not much information on these things, so I thought I'd do a quick video. It's got alloy wheels, tubeless wheels. The bead on them is not very good. Tires come off quite readily, so I don't know if the bead's high enough. Little BS things like that. It's got a 2-cylinder liquid cooled Suzuki engine, 2 carburetors on it, twin pipes. It's got the Harley style ignition. Starts it up. Actually, it runs pretty good. You know, needs a little choke because I haven't been running it, but it's got the disc on the back. And then it's got these, it's got a little trap on the carburetor so you can unscrew it and drain it, get all the crud there. It's got not Keenan carburetors, but something called Shengwei, which is maybe a good copy of a Keenan. I'm not too sure. Again, long-term tests are few and far between. So interesting plumbing for the radiator. It has twin shocks underneath. Soft tail Harley style, alloy rim, of course. On the rear, very long chain on it, very long front end. A bit awkward to drive, but fortunately, not a lot of bikes. 300cc, so pretty unintimidating, pretty user friendly. The engine, but that's down to the Japanese design, really, more than the Chinese design. The clutch seems to work okay and that sort of thing. So that's the deal with the Johnny Peg chopper thing. I think it's called a spider. I keep wanting to say scooter for some reason, but anyways, yeah, it's kind of cool. You know, it's got some, I would say real high quality, but you know, it's up from the usual Chinese stuff. So, you know, if you want one to go to the coffee shop or something like that, that's cool. Don't expect a lot out of it. You know, it's you know, the typical metallurgy issues, like you get into the engine with Otis products and with these Chinese copies of Japanese stuff, and you'll find that they don't weld together like the shift mechanisms. They rivet stuff together, then the metallurgy's bad, so you get bolts that are seemingly made of licorice, you know, that kind of thing. So because the bolts are not of a substandard quality, they tend to stretch the threads and then they come loose. That's why on all the Chinese stuff, you always find loose bolts everywhere. You almost got to double nut it on the other end with good quality nylon nuts, which is pretty ridiculous. The gauge of the wires tend to be thinner, and so the connectors don't fit right, and it just goes on and on. So but yeah, if you get a low quality or a low kilometer one and it's for a decent price and you get it for a steal, well, yeah, sure, why not? It's got big 1/8 inch bars on it, oddly enough, and this big long front end, which seems quality. Like the stanchions seem pretty good on it. Like it seems like a good solid front end, nice extended front end. So yeah, that's about it. Dual disc. What else can I say about it? This one was in for a tire and the kickstand spring had fallen off, and then last time I had another one in, the shifter mechanism was all screwed up and had broken, and then you couldn't get the parts, and so we ended up welding it and that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you expect with these things. But you know, unlike the quads, I mean, these don't get really used much, so yeah, you might have some luck with it. So anyways, hope that helps somewhat. It's great looking bike, sitting still, like I said. So, you know, if that's your thing, then that's cool. You know, and it might be a good budget value thing to drive to the coffee shop and you know, get a kick out of sort of thing. So anyways, hope that helps, and have a good day. Ciao.